Welcome to Contracting Conversations. My name is Scott Williams and I'm joined by my co-host Jim Valley. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Erin Moore, who is DAU's Learning Asset Manager for CON 7140V, the Advanced Cost Modeling course. Welcome, Erin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet. It's a pleasure. Erin, let's get started by talking about 7140V, the Advanced Cost Modeling course. What can you tell us about it?
CON 7140V, the Advanced Cost Modeling course, is a course that is going to go over a walkthrough process of how to build cost models. So what you're going to do is we're going to be receiving a cost proposal, and we're going to be going through the process of building a cost model in a certified cost or pricing data environment. So basically, when you get a proposal that's Table 15.2 compliant, how is it that we build a cost model? So you're going to work on reverse engineering a proposal that we receive that's Table 15.2 compliant and build up a cost model. A lot of the times people get really hung up on the term advanced because they think we're going to be using advanced Excel formulas. However, that's not the case with this course. The overall topic of building cost models can be a very complex process. So that's what we mean by advanced. So what we're really doing is we're taking Excel and using the power of Excel and the functionality that Excel provides us, and we're using basic functions and using complex problem solving and critical thinking skills that we will help provide you during the class in order for you to then use relatively simple basic Excel formulas to then build cost models that will allow us, the government, to be efficient and effective in today's agile environment and allow us to participate and be very effective in today's quick negotiation environment.
All right, thanks, Erin. I tell you, this course sounds pretty exciting, and it seems like a skill set that would be nice to have, especially for a cost pricer. Are there any prerequisites to take this course?
No, so we don't have any prerequisites. There is going to be a pre-course assessment that we ask that you take. It's on a pass-fail basis, and essentially the pre-course assessment allows us to gauge what your basic Excel knowledge is. And in that, we're looking at just to ascertain, do you have a basic grasp of what Excel is? And if you don't, we highly encourage that you take CCON 18, which is Excel Skills for Business. While it's not a prerequisite for this course, it is a good idea to take it prior to the course if you don't have a good basis for Excel prior to taking it. It really will help enhance your skills, and it will help make the course a more effective course for you while you're taking it. Okay? And then prior to taking this course as well, you want to make sure that you have a good understanding of cost analysis and the individual cost elements in FAR Table 15.2. Because as I mentioned, we're going to be going through a lot of that, but we're going to be focusing on the cost model building aspect, not necessarily what the cost elements are and what their descriptions are. So we're really maintaining our focus on the building of the cost model and not what the individual cost elements or even how to do a cost analysis are. We're strictly on that cost model building focus in this course.
That's awesome, Erin. And I think that CCON 01A, that's excellent for everybody. I mean, everybody should have some type of basic knowledge of Excel, since most contracting officers use that quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Erin, I certainly agree with what Jim said there. So who would you say is the target audience for this particular course?
So as Jim mentioned, this would be a great course for cost price analysts. However, I can't stress enough how important this course would be for just the general 1102s. All right, so we have listed as the target audience as GS9s and above, and that would be for civilians and military equivalents with at least 2 years of experience. And then we also have it for price analysts, contracting officers, contract specialists, DCAA auditors, and DCMA. And it's very important that anybody in that 1102 career field, that you have this skill under your belt, because you're not always going to have a cost price analyst on your team. So even if you are a contract specialist or a contracting officer or, a DCA auditor or a DCMA price analyst, right? You're still going to have this skill that you're going to have to do on some of your actions because you're going to have to do your own pricing at some point in time during your career. So I can't stress the importance enough for this course to the entire 1102 career field, not just to the cost price analysts. Because while the cost price analysts will do this as a day in and day out as part of their duties, all other aspects of this career field will be doing this at some point in their career. And it really is going to be a good asset for them to have.
Great. Thanks, Erin.
All right, Erin. So what can a student expect from a course structure perspective?
So for this course, it's set up into a couple of different modules. The very first module is just a simple introduction to the course, and we're going to lay out the way that this course is run. And in this course, so we've talked about how it's a virtual instructor led, and it's also a self-paced class. When we built this course, I wanted to make sure that we captured the varying degrees of Excel expertise that we were going to get in this class. So we understand and I recognize that we're going to have a wide range of individuals that are coming in with very little Excel knowledge. And then we're going to have a wide range of, hey, I've been a pricer for a very long time, but I want to fine tune my skills or learn some new tips type information. So while this is a 2-week class in structure, it is set up so that you could technically finish this class as of the second Monday of this course. Okay. And it's all discussed on the first day of class, that first mandatory session. And it's all talked about within that first module, that introduction module. So you have a mandatory session on Monday and Tuesday. And during that time, we will discuss through modules 1 through 4. And then on the second Monday, so the first Monday of the second week, we will discuss module 5 and 6, which is where we will talk about cost estimating relationships and their importance, especially when it comes to building your cost models, because it is one of the most important aspects of your cost modeling. And then we will discuss how to build the government negotiation positions, because that is another important aspect of building up the proposed cost model. And then from there, so the module 7, which is on Thursday of the second week, is a optional session. And it's considered to be optional because it is a more advanced Excel-based skill. So in that session, we'll be talking about pivot tables. We'll be talking about VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, and how to more fine-tune and become more efficient in using Excel. So that's where we will be using that, a more advanced Excel type information and more advanced Excel formulas. Because of that, we have made that portion optional. So with that being said, we will release the final exam after the Monday session of the second week. So technically, for those individuals who are more advanced and can get through the work assignments a lot quicker, you can technically finish this course prior to, or I should say, right after the mandatory session on Monday afternoon. All right, so we've developed this course in a manner that you can finish this course earlier than that 2-week time frame, as long as you get your work done. There is a little bit of a disclaimer with that, in that we have to grade our assignments accordingly, right? So we have to make sure that we're grading our assignments based on kind of first come, first serve in terms of when the assignments are due. But you are able to finish your work early and kind of complete your work ahead of time and ahead of schedule, and not have to attend the later on sessions during that week. So that's kind of the overall course structure. And overall, this course is a total of 33 CLPs. All right. So even though it's a 2-week course, it doesn't necessarily take, from what we've seen, that full 2 weeks to finish the workload. All right. And that's, again, why we have it structured so you can finish it early. And then from there, in this class, what we're doing is we will be providing you a proposal. And in that proposal, it's a real life type example where it's very common that we'll receive a proposal that has no formulas in it. We have a workbook that you will be provided that provides you how to walk through and build the Excel file of how to build that proposed cost model. So how do we reverse engineer and build a proposed cost model that is fully functioning, which means it has all the formulas necessary to mimic that contractor's estimating system and build up and have all of the costs automatically calculated based off of that contractor's proposal. And we have videos that show step by step on how to build up that cost model. So when you go through, and that's all within module 4. So when you go through that module, you're going to go through and you'll have a couple of different steps, and you'll read through how to go step by step on how to build that Excel file. And then there'll be a video that's optional, and you can watch that video and it's narrated to explain, here's now how you go through steps, say 1 through 5. And then you can watch that video and see how to do steps 1 through 5. So we've really tried to hit all the different learning types here. So you can read through on how to do it, you can watch how to do it, and then you're hands-on how to do it, because you're going to be, as part of your graded assignment, you're going to have to do the cost model yourself. Now with the videos though, we've gotten some really good positive feedback on how good the videos are. But I can't stress the importance of the workbook itself. There's more information in the workbook, so you really have to use the workbook coupled with the videos and make sure you're reading everything and you're watching the videos coupled with reading through the workbook. Okay, so it's a really good structured walkthrough of how to build up that proposed cost model. We go over when is the good time to build a cost model. What is it that we should be looking at in a contractor's proposal that we should be using to build up that cost model? Because as you know, when we get a cost proposal, it can be hundreds, if not thousands of pages long. But when it comes to building that cost model, do we need all of that information to build it? So we try to really zoom in your focus into here's what it is that you need when it comes to building that cost model. Okay, because again, this class's focus is simply on building the cost model itself. All right. And then from there, once that proposed cost model is built, we go into the focus of that is going to become the foundation of building the government negotiation positions. Because from there, now we need to create our going in position or our initial position for negotiations. And then we need to create our government objective position. And then from there, we need to have a file or a cost model that we can use during negotiations. So we can efficiently and effectively pass negotiation numbers across the table while we're in negotiations with that contractor. And that initial proposed cost model that we create is going to be the foundation that allows us to build all those different negotiation positions. So what we teach you in this class is, one, how to build up those different positions, but we also teach you how to effectively build them. So we're doing it effectively and efficiently, because there's a process to building those positions where we can build them up quicker and more efficiently, so that when we're going through the process of developing and preparing for negotiations, we can get to that negotiation table quicker and get to that business clearance quicker. So we're trying to get through that process of showing you and teaching you there are efficient ways of doing it and using Excel to help us efficiently get there.
All right. Thanks, Erin. Very thorough review. I'm sure this potential students that are really going to enjoy hearing what you have to say about this course. And there's a lot of flexibility, which I think is pretty cool.
Yes, we've definitely built a lot of flexibility into this class.
Hey, Erin, really quickly, I know you talked a little bit about the assignments and things of that nature, but really quickly, how are the students going to be assessed in the course overall?
Yeah, so during the walkthrough that we talked about of how you build up the cost model, there's 3 mini exercises. So we can make sure that you're learning the critical thinking that we're trying to teach you, those problem-solving skills that we're trying to teach you. So there's 3 mini exercises that go through that thought process, those critical thinking skills. Then there's the big exercise, which is that proposed cost model. And when we ask for that cost model, that's the big crux of your grade. And with that, we do a really thorough job of grading that when we get it. So we're going to actually take your Excel file and we're going to go through it and we're going to make sure it's completely formulated. We're going to look at all your formulas. We're going to make sure it calculates correctly, right? So we're not going to ask you just to submit an Excel file to us, and we're not going to just look at the overall number and say, yep, everything looks good, right? Because we want to make sure that what you're giving to us is something that is going to actually work for the following week, which is when you're going to start creating your government positions. All right. So that first week is when those 3 mini exercises in that proposed cost model is due. And that proposed cost model, it's a really hard set date of when that model is due, because the entire second week is dependent upon that proposed cost model being complete. So then the second week is when we start developing the government objective. So while in reality, you would actually create a bunch of different government positions, for this course, we are just creating the government objective. And for the second week, we're going to have you create what's called a spread, which we'll talk about in class. And that is something that we teach you for the purposes of if during a creation of your government positions, you ever get a technical evaluation where they don't break out costs or hours by year, and we need to get that information. So we need to do that efficiently and effectively. So we provide math of how to do that and how to build that into your cost model. So we give you that as part of an assignment. So there's an assignment where you develop what we call the spread, and then you input the government rate. So that's another singular assignment, and that's part of the government objective. Then for the final government objective portion is where their students will go in and they'll enter in the technical evaluation hours and other inputs from the technical evaluation. And we will provide the students the weighted guidelines results. So they'll get the profit for the CLINs that we are given to them. And then lastly, there is a final exam. And that final exam consists of 25 multiple choice questions based off of the content that they're provided. There is no Excel type based questions on that multiple choice. We get that question all the time, but it is all multiple choice and it's not timed, because that's another question we get all the time. So the final exam is simply 25 multiple choice, and it's a not timed exam. And that is how the class is graded during this course.
Great. Thanks, Erin.
No problem.
All right, Erin, let's take it down to the end here since we're almost done. Is there anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No, the only thing I would say is I am very passionate about this topic. I love building cost models. So if you ever do take this course, I would love to have you here. I love, like I said, love cost models. If I could build them for my entire career, I would. So I entirely enjoy teaching how to build cost models. So I highly encourage everybody to take this class because I would love to have you there.
All right, Erin, we really appreciate you coming on the show to talk about CON 7140V, the Advanced Cost Modeling course, and we hope to have you again someday.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
That's great. So to everyone out there, thank you for listening in today. We will have future contracting conversations with Erin to talk about other courses that she's the Learning Asset Manager for. In the meantime, please, if you could, subscribe to this channel, let your friends and family know about it. And please, we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and on DAU Media. Press the like button and look forward to having future contracting conversations with you.